What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be doing a kind of different video that everybody's going to possibly enjoy. I don't know. It's going to be a hit or miss situation, but I want to talk about it real quick, shall we? So, what are we going to be talking about today? Today, I am going to be talking about none other than a positive video for Digimon TCG. I'm going to be straightforwards and everything like that and talk about a lot of good things that Digimon has been doing in the last couple months or just in general, because I think a lot of players have been very much way too negative into the game lately, and they're going like, well, this is a problem, this is a problem, we need to hit this, and then just talking so negatively to the game, it kind of deters a lot of players from actually wanting to play the game. And I feel like at the end of the day, we have a lot going on for Digimon in a good, positive way. We have evolved our card game in ways that most card games don't evolve this design. I know that a lot of players are going to scream power creep, at the end of the day, all games have this. You're never going to not have this in a trading card game. If you're looking for no power creep, you're looking for deck builders. You're looking for board games that are one and done, right? Because power creep is always going to happen in any card games that you're going to be looking at. Do they always address the issue right away? No, but sometimes it takes time for regular card games to play catch up and get a good understanding on what they need to do to achieve their perfect end goals, right? At the end of the day, yeah, restriction list takes a little bit longer for Digimon, but we're going to be seeing that biggest issue that a lot of players had was, well, we didn't get any time to play with these cards, right? You can't have it both ways, to be honest with you, but you're gonna have to choose what is right for the game, right? So now with unification coming, our restriction lists won't really stop us from being able to play the decks. We're going to be playing the same weird format that JP plays, but they are best of ones while we're best of threes. So the data kind of gets changed up a little bit, and it leads into some more healthy, longer term plays. You get to play with the broken cards for longer, and hopefully that means we'll see more restriction lists come more frequently, which will change any toxic format that long term we're dealing with. I mean, we're gonna have to eventually address problem cards, right? So I think we're in a good spot for restriction lists now, getting rid of that biggest issue that players had with unification not being unified, was losing out to play these strong decks. We lost out on ×4 on release, we lost Anubismon on release, we lost Apocalypse on release. Players were very upset that they didn't get to play these decks, but again, they're toxic decks, right? So being able to now play them, I don't know how that's gonna really be. I think it'll tone down a lot of those people that have been having that issue for a long time, and it'll hopefully make our game flourish, and I'll be happy about that. But now you have to get into biggest problem that a lot of players also have been having, and again, they have addressed this with unification, was not having any way of being able to create decks uniquely. So with unification, that solved that issue, and I'm glad that we're getting unification. Now we can kind of just be like, okay, we don't have this 85% solved meta. Now we have a way of going like, okay, in 2 weeks we'll solve the meta together. You'll get the information from people that are actually willing to play test, and I like that we're getting to that point for a lot of card games. Being unified release, or only just being a small gap in like a couple months difference, usually is a good and healthy thing. I'm just worried about if on-time delivery. So again, with how fast product is being released in the coming months, the thing I'm worried a little bit about is going to be if we're going to see a lot more delays with tariffs and everything like that, meaning our product's going to go up, and that means things are going to be changing around fast. People won't be ordering as much heavier products if the boxes get to $120. I really doubt a lot of players can afford buying cases at that point, but product will definitely move at the LGS level at all times, and hopefully this will bring more players in when you have more product at the LGS level. But there is going to be a breaking point when I think card games will have a, like, I can't afford all these cards unless they start opening a printing press over here, which then, you know, will lead into having on-time deliveries in every location, right? If we can get a Bandai printing press in United States, in North America, some way, somehow, that isn't going to affect, you know, the bottom line, we could easily have a lot of more product go around. And I think that might be one of the better ways of dealing with the future tariff issues that I know a lot of players are going to be nervous about, because again, we're going to possibly see delays on releases because UK had a terrible release schedule and they were notoriously struggling just to get their product on time. And we'll probably see the same thing if delays at ports and everything like that keep coming through. So I do a lot of logistics stuff for my real life job, so I kind of see what's going on at the ports more often than not. So I definitely want to see that we kind of keep the universal release, but I do expect there's going to be delays across the board, and that's not terrible, but hopefully we don't have so much product coming through month after month and we get some more alleviated breaks, because again, we don't need to have main set, side set, main set, side set, main set, side set. You know, space out the product a bit more is something I really hope Bandai does. But, you know, it's kind of cool that we're going to get new mechanics from all these sets. Almost every set has introduced a new mechanic, which I'm really excited for. In long-term wise, we have so much uniqueness coming through, and, you know, you have basically a new keyword just in BT22 where progress, being able to attack and not worry about any effects during your when attacking step. So basically, until you've hit that security or the target, you're basically protected in a way that's very unique for Red. And I love unique ways of keywording. And again, we even have Applemon, which is going to be a unique style of play as well, that even can support decks like Beelzemon and Bellastarmon, which is really good. Like, to be honest with you, out of card games in general, we've gone from, you know, generic support to legacy support to generic good stuff, top ends, to now back to just building more legacy style of decks. You know, we're one of the few games that, to be honest with you, have a consistent rate of supporting the legacy decks in a way that either makes a fresh new deck that we know that it's not going to be able to do much, but we get a reskin of Lord Nightmon. Like, who wouldn't be excited for that when they remember BT4 as Lord Nightmon? It plays a lot differently, but it plays in almost for similar effects. You have a lot of playing it, but it kind of went from playing the yellow version to a Dark Knight shell to a Doggo shell. You know, all these great effects come through with, you know, these different change up to fan favorite Digimon that they try to do. The only deck that's been kind of on the low end of getting support has been War Greymon, but again, it had so much support set after set after set. Players were just tired of it, and I get it. So I think, taking into account that this game definitely gives legacy support in a good way, I think long-term wise, we're always going to see some new style of old decks that players will always have their fan favorite Digimon, right? You know, Black War Greymon's getting support, which again, a lot of players weren't expecting. Well, let's be honest, they probably were asking for it. They just didn't know when Black War Greymon was coming, because again, we had BT16 and not a Black War Greymon in it. Then we have this set that's coming out, BT21, but we're also getting Cyber Sleuths, which again is a long time ask for support because we've gotten Cyber Sleuths back in BT5 and we haven't touched Cyber Sleuths ever again. So BT22 introducing Cyber Sleuths again and giving us a lot more support. We're getting great stuff. And then BT23 is going to have the Hacker's Memory. So this should probably get a lot more players interested into the game because, again, at the end of the day, we are ways of bridging the gap. So this should lead into, oh, I know Cyber Sleuths. I played Cyber Sleuths. I can get players in. And I think having more tie-in products is going to be really great. You know, the webcomic is great. We're getting a anime again, which should drag in players more. And then with a new video game coming out, I think this should lead into a lot of fan favorites coming to play the game again. And I think we're going to see a lot of benefits through that, being able to have our products now affiliate with the card game, and a lot of players will now one for one be more willing to play the card game. So I think a lot of you know, the coming year, Bandai is doing a lot of good things across the board, and I'm really excited to see how they handle it. But what has been some of your positives for Digimon lately? I think mechanically wise, we have introduced amazing new keywords across the board. I think release schedule is going to be the biggest issue, I think, just with so much product, fire. But, you know, they'll probably slow down after a little bit. Another thing that I know players are nervous about is rotation. There's no rhyme or reason that we're going to see it, but I felt like Digimon was always the tester product to these things. And I know that, you know, Bandai just announced One Piece rotation. That's going to be a game changer for a lot of players. So will this lead into something good or will this lead into something bad? I don't know exactly. I don't think Digimon's going to get a rotation, but Bandai is Bandai. They can easily announce a rotation and boom, you're going to just see decks disappear. I mean, long-term wise, this could just be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list situation. We just get more and more product. The pool changes up. They're just going to have to restrict things. Or eventually they might decide that rotation is just where they want to go with it. And again, it's going to be that 50-50 coin flip. You can't just justify everything. But I don't think rotation is going to come. But if it does, we should probably just support it. I think this game has been out long enough where older sets are fine to fall off at this point. And then you can just kind of have a legacy format and a normal format. But we'll have to see. Hopefully, guys, enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.